sounds lighter, but we have to be an institution now. That's just... Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today, and to see such a phenomenally well-dressed room, for one thing. I felt like I was at a fashion show back there. But more importantly, so many new faces and so many old friends to the North Florida chapter. We so appreciate you being here. Planning to spend your lunch hour with us. I think you're going to really enjoy today's program. Before I begin my remarks, I did want to thank our sponsors for today's luncheon, which include EMD Serona, Kevin Neuroscience, Brookdale Senior Living, thank you so much. Jan and Mitch Owens, very good friends of the organization, Wilmer Hartley and Metcalf, Matthew E., and Jim and Debbie Thompson. It's not surprising that it continues to be difficult to raise funds in these economic times. So we are certainly so incredibly grateful to our partners to help underwrite the cost of the event, and that way we can ensure that maximum dollars goes to making a real impact on the lives of people who live with multiple sclerosis. I also want to thank the fantastic volunteer committee who helped make today happen. Every day am just blown away by the generosity of volunteers that help this organization. You know, we serve about almost 20,000 people who live with or are affected by multiple sclerosis, and we have 11 professional staff that do that across the 34-county area. Again, you have to be a mathematician to realize that those numbers don't work that well. So we are so incredibly appreciative of the volunteers that make that possible for us. I want to especially thank Carrie, who has more energy in her little finger than I have ever had in my entire life cumulatively. And I thought I had energy. She has done a fantastic job and brought a whole new group of people to us. So thank you, Carrie, and your committee has done a great job. So I was thinking about my remarks today, and I couldn't help but make a connection, and I apologize, to our speaker last night in another program. I said I felt like a cheesy parallel for my remarks today, but it is what it is. So I couldn't help but make the connection with the television phenomenon, which some of you may know Austin from, and that was Survivor. It's hard to believe Survivor came out in 2000, so it was 10 years old. And I remember when it first came out, I was a serious follower, and I think I read, I did lots of research, and it was the only season that it was on Thursday night. And I think I remembered that, actually. So it was 10 years ago that we learned to anticipate challenges. We, forced to see alliances. We cheered at tribal council. Turns out that reality show absolutely sparked the entire revolution of reality TV, and it was certainly a whole new way of looking at entertainment, and I was definitely, and continue to be, addicted to reality TV. It's like American Idol. I was so happy last night. Anyway, of course, like everything else, life gets in the way. New ideas took my attention, new crazy reality shows, and by the time they left Africa, which was about 3 seasons later, I left the show too. And still, of course, last week when I started thinking about my time here this morning, and I started to wonder how much of the show Survivor really was like Life with MS. I know that since I stopped watching it, added all kinds of crazy new twists. Again, I learned this on the internet. Exile Island, Immunity Idol, something called the Russell Factor. I don't know, I'll have to explain that one to me, but regardless, could it be that Survivor Anywhere was in fact much like MS Everywhere? So I decided to Google Survivor, and suffice to say there's not a shortage of information out there. There's amazing amounts of information out there. I was especially fascinated by Wikipedia's brief description of the show, and it says, I quote, "The show maroons a group of strangers in a desolate locale where they must provide food, water, fire, and shelter for themselves, while competing in challenges to earn either a reward or an immunity from expulsion from the game in the next of the successive votes for elimination. While much rarer than elimination by vote, medical conditions such as injury or infection have in fact eliminated some contestants. The last 2 or 3 survivors face a jury historically comprised of at least 7 players who have already been voted off, interrogate the final few, and then vote for the winner of the title of sole survivor and a $1 million prize. So I thought, I think I might be onto something. So they take a group of strangers out of their normal life, they throw them into something they've never experienced before, they fill them with adversity and give them very little knowledge and just a couple tools to cope with their situation. And then they ask them to rebuild their lives within this new crazy reality, which seems to sound a little familiar to me. And then they ask that same group to compete in a challenging environment to win services, support, or aid that they need to continue in this unknown world. And that they have to fight off forces that they have no control over and sometimes come out at the wrong end of the effort. Attempting to win a quality of life award, periodically to make life less challenging. Yep, I see the connection. And what about the concept of being eliminated from the game due to a medical problem that makes moving forward more difficult? What happens when the game becomes too hard to manipulate? That's not all that unfamiliar either. I am sure of one thing, however, and that is there's one significant difference between Survivor TV and Survivor MS, and that's the whole concept of one sole survivor. That's clearly the stuff of Hollywood. In our Survivor, there are hundreds of thousands of winners, people who every day face those challenges and grab those immunities that come along periodically to face adversities on Exile Island and still come out on top. And I, myself, have never been on Survivor, and those of you who know me know I couldn't live anywhere without pizza and french fries. And I also don't have MS, but I have been privileged over the past 2 decades of my life to know the fortitude of hundreds and actually thousands of people who do, and to me they stand as the true champions and stars of their own Survivor series. And to each of you, I salute you, and to all of those of you who tune in daily, weekly, monthly, periodically, I salute you as well for your support and your dedication and your loyalty to the Survivor in your life. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful lunch.